Hello everyone, welcome to Talking Reds, where we bring the latest Liverpool news, transfer news and much more. As you can see me in the thumbnail and on the title as well, Pete Davey from London Mag NUFC is going to be joining me just shortly to talk about everything Alexander Isak, Newcastle, Liverpool and much more, what's been going on. Obviously last night we saw something big, didn't we, last night? The big bombshell, whilst the PFA Player Awards was going on, Alexander Isak decided to post on social media outing Newcastle United and their false promises, their broken promises, to which Newcastle responded within hours, basically saying Alexander Isak was lying. They said he was lying about that claim. Good evening, Adam. Good evening, Mark. Welcome in. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you are new. You haven't joined us yet on this channel. Make sure you do subscribe because we are giving daily content out for Liverpool transfer news, Liverpool news in general, and Liverpool content going forward with watch-alongs, match reactions, everything you want as a Liverpool fan. This is the channel for you. So make sure you do subscribe to the channel and also get involved in our TikTok and our Twitter as well. And our Fantasy Premier League code is at the bottom as well. So yeah, is Isak coming? Said Mark. What a question! What a question! Is Isak coming? I mean, it is the golden ticket question, isn't it? Is Isak going to come after last night? I mean, Pete's going to come on. We're going to discuss it. I need to see it from a Newcastle point of view. Pete's a very, very well-grounded Newcastle fan. I've been on a stream with him before. Fantastic person and fantastic. He's got a fantastic YouTube channel. If you go over there, go on to Loaded Mag NUFC, and Crying Vista is off to Spurs. Is that what's going on now? I know they got rejected a contract with Tottenham, but I've not seen that he's going to Spurs. Wow, is that what's going on now? I'm not seeing that though, Daniel. I know they got rejected. There's a second bid. Newcastle's bid got rejected. Their second bid. So yeah, Pete is on right now. Pete Davey is on right now. Newcastle fan on possibly, for me, the biggest Newcastle YouTube channel around, and he is a fantastic content creator himself. So it's nice to see you on here, Pete, because I want to know from a Newcastle point of view. We get a couple of Newcastle fans coming in, but it's not the same. I want to hear from your point of view what is going on, mate? What is going on? Because this transfer window, it's been just covered with Isak. How are you feeling?
I'll be honest, like I'm just drained with it all. It's been what 4 or 5 weeks now of just constant Isak talk, and it's got in the way. It's got in the way of preparing for the season. It's got in the way of even the game against Villa at the weekend, first game of the season. The talk, we thought starting the season would just kind of get it back to football again, and it hasn't. It's just constantly Isak Liverpool, Isak Newcastle, and just all the fallout from it. And it's draining, it's boring. You just want a conclusion, and it just doesn't seem like it's going to let up. I mean, last night was a big statement in which way it's going to go for me. I think that was the big turning point in all of this in the last few weeks. But then, it turns a little bit again, because as you're just reading before I came on with the Johan Wissa situation, and that doesn't surprise me, by the way. It doesn't surprise me because Newcastle have twice bid the money that Brentford have asked, and both times it's been rejected. And
they've upped it as well. They've upped the price as well, haven't they?
And it keeps going up because it's an unrealistic price, and this is what they're doing. And it from the piece that Craig Hope wrote, it's now broke on Sky, so like it is being talked about. Craig Hope mentioned that Brentford want to sell to Tottenham because of the manager, and Wissa wants to go to Newcastle. And that's where the problem is at the moment. This is why he's kicking off. So it actually kind of makes a little bit of sense, is that he was promised a certain transfer. Obviously, promises mean nothing.
We know about broken promises, don't we, mate?
Exactly. We know what broken, they mean nothing. But they've given Newcastle a fee twice, which we've matched, and then twice they've rejected it. This kind of tells me where it's going to go, in that, if Richarlison does go as part of the Eze deal, then they will end up getting Wissa. They just will. And
yeah, it's that.
It just makes sense.
But it's that extra bit of leeway in it, which you can't offer. That's the issue. You can't offer that. Last night, it came out of nowhere, didn't it? Obviously, we knew he wasn't going to the PFA because of things going on. We knew that were going. The reports were that anyway last night, saying he wasn't going. But to publicly come out, and Isak has not said anything publicly. It's all been reports from through his agent or whatever. It's been reported through the club. The club says he's not for sale. Then he's saying he is for sale, but for a certain price. He has not said anything public. And funnily enough, I did a stream on Monday night, and I said the truth's going to come out. He's going to speak. He's going to, whether it's today, tomorrow, next year, when he does get that move, he's going to make a statement, and he'll want to get his truth out. And he did it last night, and it was. How was your first reaction to that? Because I was just like, wow, what I mean is really, I think that was the last burnt bridge for me. And we're getting to the point now where Newcastle still saying, look, it's still not for sale. That's it. In fact, last night was like, it was more like, you're definitely not going now.
Yeah.
After that, it was like, you're definitely not going now. We don't agree with that. But at some point, Isak had to come out and say something. I think he had to, because he's the one that's getting a bit looked as a bad guy. I think I've said it, I've been very, very consistent on this. I don't agree with how Isak's gone about it, the way he's gone about it. Going there, while things like, you got to do it professionally. This is exactly the way we was about Trent. We felt the same way about Trent. There's going to be fans out there that's like, oh, Trent can't leave Liverpool no matter what. Yeah. But I was like, if you want to leave, fine, but respectfully do it. There was so many different things. He did so much disrespect to us Liverpool fans during that time and after. But there had to be something there. He's had to respond the way he has. There has to be. This hasn't come from nothing. He hasn't gone from, oh, I love Newcastle. Let's play Champions League again. I just want a Carabao Cup to, I want to leave like that. Something's happened behind the scenes, and I think there has been broken promises.
I think both situations could be right. And I'll explain why I think the way I think is that what he was referring to in the statement, and everyone's picked up on it now, what he was referring to in terms of broken promises isn't the move this summer. That's not what it's about. The broken promises is about the contract. People are now talking about it today. That is the issue. It's the broken contract. So basically, back in June, I think it was 2024, Amanda Staveley and Mir Agudusi, who were the part owners at that point in time, had sat down and agreed that they were going to give him a bumper contract, which would make him one of the highest paid players at the club and in the league. He was obviously wanting to do that. He wanted to extend his stay at Newcastle, this, that, and the other. They then left or were asked to leave because of the PSR situation. They were the ones that basically caused the PSR situation because they didn't monitor what they were spending, etc., etc. They left the club. Paul Mitchell comes in a few days later. Paul Mitchell then basically turns around and goes, you've got 4 years left still on your deal. We don't need to give you a new contract right now. So all of his promises were then broken at that point. And that's fine, by the way. That's fine, because they have been to a point broken. But to go then the rest of the season and play the way he's done, but not just play the way he has, the way he's talked about Newcastle United. So interviews in March, interviews in April, where he's talking about how much he loves Newcastle United, how much he wants to stay, how he visions us fighting for titles in the years to come. Like, you don't talk like that if you're wanting to leave a year previous. You might be annoyed you didn't get your contract, but that isn't the same as demanding to leave or having an agreement to leave the club. And this is where Newcastle United's statement comes in, because Newcastle United, the first thing and the only thing they make reference to is the fact that he's come out in his statement and said there was an agreement effectively to leave. That isn't the case. And Newcastle United were very stern on that point. There has been no agreements with any Newcastle United officials that would allow Alexander Isak to leave the club. They have always maintained, and this is, I keep saying this is before Liverpool started to show their interest. If you remember earlier on in the season, it was Isak and Arsenal fans coming out desperate for Isak, and there was all this in the media. It's been going on since back then. And Newcastle United made reference way back when, even then, October, November last year, that if anybody's going to get Alexander Isak, they have to sit at the table for 150 million. They're not even going to consider it. That was before Liverpool were interested. When Liverpool became interested around the Carabao Cup and just after, it was maintained again. So for Newcastle fans, this is not new. We've always known that there's 150 million value on his head. There always has been. And so coming into this summer, nothing had changed. Newcastle were adamant that no one would hit that value. They want to keep him for another season. And then, with 2 years left on his deal, all Newcastle fans knew this time next year, 2026, he'll leave and he'll go somewhere. Most thought he'd go abroad, but then Liverpool have come in this summer. And I think what's happened is because it's really weird. Like in the build up to this summer, obviously after the season finished, we've got Champions League. You see, Anthony Elanga, for example, we signed, who is his international teammate.
Yeah.
Anthony Elanga in his interviews said that Isak was begging him basically to come to Newcastle United, was telling him that was this summer. You don't do that if you're then planning to leave. You're not begging a player to come to join the club if you're then desperate to get out. This is why a lot of Newcastle fans, a lot of Newcastle reporters, they're saying it doesn't make sense that apparently this is all historical from over a year ago. It actually it just doesn't make sense. But what I think's happened is during that week where you came in with a verbal bid, you said you were willing to pay 120 million. We said no. You then went and bid and agreed a deal for Ekatike. I think his agents been in his ear at that point and gone, this is your chance. This is your chance to go to one of the best clubs in the world. And I think at that point, they've instigated something. The Celtic thing happened where he refused to play. They said it was an injury, but we now know he refused to play. He didn't go onto the tour, and everything spiraled off the back of that. That's from everything that we're looking at and looking way back over a year. That, for me, is how I see this and how it's played out. Now, that's not Liverpool's fault. It's not Liverpool's fault. Liverpool showed interest in the player. You know, Liverpool want to sign the player. They've unsettled him to a certain perspective, but that's normal when you that's not anything over the top. But for me, I'm looking at the agent first and foremost, and I'm looking now even more so at the player. They're the ones that I'm looking at and going, nah, you've not handled this one. You've handled it all wrong. And this is why now he's being Alexander Isak and his agent, but Isak now more than ever is being called out for his behavior, because now things are starting to come out. It actually makes Isak look worse.
I'm not a big fan of, I've said it many times, I'm not a big fan of player power anyway. I think if you're under contract, you're under contract, do it the right way. But again, I can't expect, if the promises have been broken and there has been things happened in the background that's upset Isak, it's like any normal life job. You're in a normal job in a workplace, you fall out with the boss, broken promises. If they promise you a certain position or a certain salary and they go back on their word, it's going to upset you. It doesn't matter if you get on with your workmates, it doesn't matter if you get on with customers. If you've had that relationship broken between you and your boss, there's a very, very good possibility you want to leave. And then if another company comes in that's going to offer you that position, offer you that salary, then your head does turn. And like I said, I understand both sides of this. I understand Isak's frustrations, absolutely. And if he wants to leave, I understand that. He should have gone about it the right way. But I also understand that Newcastle have to put a value on him as well. It's the exact same with Matt Gahey. Look, if we want to buy Matt Gahey from Chris Pratt, is their one of the most important players. They have every right to put £45 million on him. Yeah. I know he's got a year left, but it's not the point. Is their captain, is their leader, is their best centre-back. It's a big miss. Yeah. So they're not going to accept that. But however, I think the first bid from Liverpool, 110 million, I don't think it was disrespectful. Because at the end of the day, the first bid is never going to be anywhere near the actual asking price. It never is. And it never gets accepted either. They need to find a middle ground.
I do think there was a level of disrespect there. And the reason why I think it is because when Liverpool came to the table and verbally had a conversation with Newcastle, they said that they wanted and were willing to bid 120 million. That's a British record that was talked about. That's what they're willing to pay. But then to go 2 weeks later and then bid 110, because that's what it was. It was rumored out there when it initially dropped that it was 110 plus add-ons, whereas actually Ben Jacobs and a couple of others since that have said it wasn't a British record. It was a flat 110. For me, that's disrespectful, because if you're telling them verbally one thing and then you're then bidding below that, that's what. And to be fair, Ben Jacobs reported on it. He said this is why Newcastle rejected it so quickly.
Yeah.
Because they felt disrespected, because it wasn't anywhere near their value. They know the value. It's 150 million. It's either Liverpool pay it or they don't. It's completely up to them. If they don't, we keep the player. If you do, I think you get the player. I think there's a chance even now, but if we can get a striker in the door, that if you pay 150 million, you can still get him between now and the end of the window. I do think there's a chance that could happen, but I don't think Liverpool will pay.
Yeah, I don't think we'll go up to 150. And do you think it's going to be 150 and that's it? Do you think there's any sort of movement going backwards a little bit?
If you'd have asked me what, just over 24 hours ago, I would have said to you, and look, Newcastle United fans, just to be clear for any Liverpool fans that are watching this, or like all of your viewers, Newcastle United fans, they want him gone. We don't want Alexander Isak to stay. He's burnt his bridges. Like you would have seen on socials and stuff, fans at the training ground like calling him a rat and all the rest of it. Like that's how we feel. That's how Newcastle United fans feel at this moment in time. You guys would have gone through it as well with the likes of Sterling and players like that in the past. Like you would have felt exactly the same. If you'd have gone 24, 48 hours ago and beyond that, I think we could have done something. I would have took 130 plus some add-ons, and I think the club may well have if Isak hadn't gone and done that statement. I think what that's done, I think that's stopped, and it's not necessarily your fault because Liverpool haven't done anything.
It's annoyed Newcastle more.
It's annoyed Newcastle that he's put that statement out, and I think he's annoyed Newcastle because some of the things he said in that statement aren't true from a Newcastle perspective, and that's why they had to hit back with a statement. Now they're being adamant, we're not negotiating. I think that's basically what they've said last night. We're not negotiating. This is what we said. This is what has happened. No deal is going to happen, and they don't expect that deal to happen because they don't expect Liverpool to come with that money, which is why they're basically saying you're staying. It's as simple as that. So I think it could have happened, but with what Isak did yesterday with his statement, I just don't think it does.
It's a bit like an ego thing, a little bit, isn't it? After last night, after that Isak statement, it's like, yeah, who do you think you are a little bit now? We're gonna
Damon,
either saying not for sale completely now, or adding the money on. That's it. We're actually not even negotiating now.
It's more for me. You're right, but I think it's more than that. I think there is an element of ego about that. Is that now you're trying to make the club look bad by putting that statement out, and we're not gonna stand for that. But equally, Newcastle United know there's people that have said, oh, if you don't let Isak go, then other players won't want to come to you because of this type of situation. And my answer to that is always good. I'm glad those players don't want to come to Newcastle United if that's the case, because I only want players that want to play for Newcastle United and are committed to us. But equally, Newcastle United are putting a marker down by how they're behaving right now, is that they're sending a message to any player that wants to come to Newcastle United and the existing players that are at Newcastle United that you can't behave like how Alexander Isak's behaving and expect to leave the club. If you want to get out, you can't kick up a fuss. You can't refuse to train. You can't do all these things that are going to annoy you and think you're going to get what you're going to get. And I think there's a bit of a power play now by Newcastle back to Isak and his representatives, not to Liverpool, but to Isak and his representatives to say, nah, this is not how you do it. If you want to leave Newcastle United, there's a better way. Morgan Gibbs-White is a great example, and he's eventually signed a new contract. Eze is an even better example, on the verge of moving to Spurs, still training every day, head down, willing to play in all matches. He's probably going to play tomorrow night in the Conference League as well, fully committed to everything that he's doing. He is doing the right thing. And Isak is not, and he's got too many examples around him, Isak, where other professionals are behaving in the right way, and it's making him look worse. It really is.
It's funny. It's happened a few times this summer actually. Because Vissa's doing it now. Vissa's done it. I mean,
Yeah.
Wissa taking all the Brentford stuff out of his bag, that makes zero sense to me. What has happened between Wissa and Brentford, I don't know. Not really being said as much on what's happened to it. Is there being broken promises like Isak? I don't know. But I find it very strange taking Brentford out of bio and taking all the Brentford pictures down. Very odd behaviour. Gyökeres did it earlier on.
Yeah.
They had like an agreement and gentleman agreement. He refused to play. He refused to train for Sporting Lisbon, despite being there for a couple of years as well. He got his move to Arsenal. Go on, mate.
I was going to say, can I just say, like, obviously for Liverpool fans watching, you know, Liverpool, there has been some Liverpool fans on social media that are kind of using that, but Wissa, like, but you're okay with Wissa doing it because he's going. We're not. You speak to the vast majority. You might get in every fan base, you get a few that don't care and are encouraging Wissa's behaviour, but the vast majority of Newcastle United fans, they are not happy with what Wissa's doing to Brentford right now. And there's a number of Newcastle fans, and a growing number, that actually don't want him at the club because of how he's behaving. And that is the general consensus there with Wissa. But I think the situation with Wissa, whether it's slightly different, for me, slightly different, but the same as Isak, they had apparently an agreement that he could leave for 26 million this summer. Newcastle, I think, bid 27. It got rejected. Then Brentford turned around and said, okay, we want 35 plus add-ons. 35. Newcastle bid 35, apparently. Got rejected. Now they said, and then they said they wanted 40. Newcastle weren't willing to go to that at that point. There was a bit of a lull when nothing really was happening. Obviously, Wissa's tried to force their hand in all of this as it's gone along. Just recently, they've said now they want 50 or 60 because Atara was meant to go to Brentford to unlock the Wissa deal. They've now got Atara, and then they've said no. He was the Umbrella replacement. We need another replacement for you. You're staying until we get that replacement. So he's kicked off. Now they're telling Newcastle we want 60 million. Newcastle ain't going to pay that. And so Newcastle have had talks with him with Brentford yesterday. They put a bid in today of 35 plus 5, so 40 million all in, which is what originally, before the down moment, they asked for. So they've given them what they asked for, and they've rejected that. Now we've got the noise that they're waiting to sell to Tottenham. So again, you've got another situation.
It's an absolute mess. This whole transfer window's a mess right now. It is for more stuff for you. We've got some good transfers over the door. You got Elanga, and that's about it. So, I mean, what next for you? Because obviously you lost out on João Pedro, you lost out on Liam Delap, lost out on Mbeumo, you lost out on Ekitike. Sorry about that, but it is what it is. But what next for you? Literally running out of options now. Jackson, that sort of died down. The move for Jackson's died down. They talk about maybe Højlund. That's not a chance happening. Obviously, the Porto striker's been injured now. Samu has been injured. Yes. So that's not got a chance now. Yeah. You're sort of running out of options, but you still need... Do you still see Isak leaving? Because for me, I agree that Newcastle put a stance down. I'd want Liverpool to do the same thing. I'd want Liverpool to take the control. I wanted them to take the control last year with Trent. Like, take control of the situation. If he wants to go, you can go this summer. You're not going for free next year. Or Bradley's in front of you for the rest of the season. That's what I wanted to do. But you haven't got that option. You haven't got a striker there. I could say, Isak, you can go next year, but someone else is in front of you. Because you haven't got one. You haven't got a striker now. Callum Wilson's left. You've got Anthony Gordon playing up front. What next? Is there a slight opportunity of Isak staying? I can't see it. I can't. Not staying and playing properly.
I'll be honest with you. I think there's a higher chance of Alexander Isak staying at the club now. I genuinely think that, and that's not because we want him to stay. I'll reiterate that again. Newcastle fans want him gone. I want him gone. I don't want him at the club. He's burnt his bridges, but I genuinely think that owners will dig their heels in and insist, if you want him, you pay 150 million. I just don't think Liverpool are going to pay it, which is why I don't think he leaves. And I think he stays. And it might mean that it takes a good few weeks for the reintegration to happen. I don't think it'll happen straight away. I don't think the situation will change maybe until after the international break in September. But I do think there's a higher chance now that he stays at the club. And look, with the situation with Johan Wissa only strengthens that, because he was almost kind of the dead cert striker that was going to come in the door. And although he's a Callum Wilson replacement, he's not an Isak replacement. Although, Wissa is that Wilson replacement, like, we're still not even getting our Wilson replacement. So we're in a position where we've got no strikers. We've got, like you said, we've got Anthony Gordon up front, who, does elements of that job really well, but he's not a natural goal scorer. He's not a natural finisher. And we need that if we want to go up the table. We've got you boys on Monday evening. Ideally, we wanted the Wissa deal done this week so he could be ready and registered to play.
We wanted Isak ready for this Monday as well, mate.
Well, I mean, definitely ain't getting that. You definitely getting that. But
That's when it's going to be announced. That's when it's going to be announced in St. James's Park. He's going to come out in Liverpool top.
No chance. Not a chance. That would never happen. But so we're up in the air. We've been linked with Jürgen Strand-Larsen at Wolves, who had a really good season at Wolves. He's a good striker. As you mentioned before, Samuel Agahawa got injured on Monday. He was like an Isak level replacement that we were looking at. There's been rumours this morning or this early afternoon of Dusan Vlahovic, but his wages are so high, I just don't see Newcastle going in for him, although his fees quite small. There's Rodrigo Muniz. Apparently his move to Atalanta is fallen through. I know we were looking at him as a viable option. So that something we revisit? I think there are still Wilson replacements available for us. The likes of Muniz, the likes of Strand-Larsen, and there's a couple of others that I think we could still get in. I don't know what's happening with Ollie Watkins. I'll throw that out there because Chelsea are really interested in Jackson, but they've already got even Gessan. So they'll have two strikers there if Jackson comes in. That could open up an Ollie Watkins move. But even then, like, Newcastle want two strikers. So this is why my percentage for Isak staying is high, purely because I just don't see us getting that done with 12 days to go. I just don't see it.
Do you think Newcastle sort of held out purposefully a little bit?
No, I actually don't. And look, you look at the players that we've tried to sign to allow Isak to go. Now, what I will say is that if we did get Ekitike, I think Isak would already be a Liverpool player. If we did get Benjamin Sesko, I do think Isak would be a Liverpool player. I think even before that, if we'd have got João Pedro, although he was signed to play with Alexander Isak, I think already having him in the door maybe would have lessened or loosened our grip on Isak and the valuation. And I think there would have been more chance of him leaving the club. That's kind of where I'm at. So you look at that level, that quality of players, João Pedro, Hugo Ekitike, Benjamin Sesko, we've bid, twice, 3 times now for Johan Wissa. So there's 4 strikers that we've genuinely gone for that potentially could have unlocked the Isak deal over the course of the summer. And for more than one reason, they've gone elsewhere. So they can't say that we haven't tried. It's been such a strange summer for Newcastle, particularly with strikers, because we've got every other position sorted. We've got a goalkeeper, our centre-back, we've got a midfielder, we've got a right winger. They're the key 4 areas that we wanted to strengthen. The last one is the striker position.
Yeah,
we've done all our other business, and our business has not been bad at all. But we're just missing in this area, and striker position's been just a strange one this summer for us in particular.
And then it comes down to now the Isak derby on Monday. The Isak derby on Monday. I mean, I've never had a rival with Newcastle, not a proper rivalry. My rivals, Everton past that, it's like Chelsea, Man City. I don't really. Arsenal not a title rival. Man City and Arsenal title rival, but this rivalry has come about in just this summer. It's come this summer. I mean, Must have been like 2 months ago. I started speaking about Isak. Maybe it was a dream signing of mine. Like before the season ended, I said Isak's a dream signing of mine. I did a stream on it. And ever since I've been talking about Isak, just even speaking about it, not even about coming to Liverpool, speaking about him, I got so much abuse from Newcastle fans.
Yeah,
you guys, honestly, I've never seen a reaction like this from a fan base just simply speaking about a player, right? And I just thought, you know what? You've made an enemy in my friend. You've made an enemy in me, and I cannot wait for Monday. We're doing our first watch along Monday for that game.
Oh wow!
So I can't wait for that one. It's going to be an absolute stormer, and it's going to be a game. The fans are going to go nuts on Monday.
It's going to reach fever pitch at St James's Park.
It's going to be hostile.
It will be very, very. First home game of the season. Newcastle United, traditionally, the atmospheres are brilliant under the lights. You'll know it because we've played you a couple of times Saturday night, late kickoffs. I think we've done a midweeker before, in December.
Yeah. Last
November, late November, early December, when it was 3-3. That was a midweek game. So under the lights, it always ramps up the atmosphere. So the fans are going to be bang up for it. The players, you could see Gordon and Byrne in their interviews after the Villa game. You can tell they're bang up for it. And this has added an additional spice to the game. I wouldn't say it's a rivalry. I think there's obviously, I'm trying to find the right word.
It's between me and the certain fans. It is.
Oh yeah, but look, you get those fans in every fan base. You'll get fans like me and you that we can sit here and have a genuine conversation about a situation that probably irks both of us. But you'll get some fans, particularly on social media, that do it to try and purposefully wind up and rile up the other fan base. I see it myself. When I'm scrolling through, I see it, and for me, I don't get involved in it. I just keep scrolling because I'm just interested in the news and what's happening and things to talk about, is in talking points. That's all I'm interested in. But you are going to always get fans like that. To be fair, I've seen loads of Liverpool fans doing exactly the same. But
it's all times.
I think there is a level of respect for both Newcastle and Liverpool, our fan bases, the communities that we both come from, like Newcastle up north, working class city, Liverpool exactly the same. There's a lot of similarities in terms of the communities and the types of fans that we are. So it's great to have that, and we've got that understanding. Of course, the clubs are on a different trajectory at this moment, but there's always going to be these moments where fan bases disagree and they're desperate. Look, we're desperate to beat you guys. You're the only club that we haven't beaten in the Premier League since Eddie Howe's taken over. So we are going to want to do that to make sure that we get that win. And it's on our own patch. So we've come close.
It's a tough game for us. I am looking forward to it, but I'm not looking forward to the game itself because it's a tough game. We've seen how good you guys are. That midfield, we're lacking a bit of physicality in that midfield. You saw Wirtz on Friday. He got pushed off a little bit. He's technically brilliant, obviously, and he's going to be fantastic for the rest of the season. But in a game like that, I do worry slightly about that physicality in midfield. You did it in the Carabao Cup final. You're a better team in the Carabao Cup final. Deserved the win. And under the lights at Newcastle on a Monday night, we've seen so many good games in Newcastle Liverpool. What are you expecting Monday? It's going to be fireworks off the pitch. I think it's going to be fireworks on the pitch.
Yeah, I do. I think it's very rare that Newcastle and Liverpool, when they play each other, doesn't provide fireworks, especially at St James's Park. So I do think it's going to be an all-action game. I think both teams will score. But yeah, what I'm going to say it's good. I think it'll be a 2-2 draw. I think there'll be goals in the game. I think there'll be all action. I think there'll be some tough tackling. There'll be some proper cauldron-like atmosphere for Liverpool players. But I think it'll be a draw.
It's going to be like an away game in a European game. That's what it's going to be like. That's how I think it's going to be very, really hostile. The Newcastle fans are going to be... They're already fuming as it is. We've seen in the comments how fuming they are. When it comes to game day on Monday, it's going to be fantastic. Yeah, so I know you have to shoot off, so good luck I say good luck, Mohammed. I don't give you really good luck. Good luck with the
I'm not
transfer
saying
window.
good luck to you, David.
Good luck
I'm
with the transfer. Good.
saying-
Make sure you get your signings. Make sure you get your strikers in because we're
Well-
relying a lot on you right now.
we need them. That's for sure. I'm just reading something just before we'll talk about the game. Keith Downey's reported that Johan Wissa has repeatedly told Brentford that he only wants Newcastle. There's a rich history of French African players like Demba Ba, Papi Cisse, Hatem Ben Arfa. Is a reason why he wants to go to Newcastle, and he wants the number 9. That's just what's been reported in the last.
Number 9's not free yet. I know it's he's 14 in. He's 14.
Yeah, he's 14. The number 9 is free because Wilson's left.
It is
Wilson's left.
free.
So
our number 9 is free.
Yeah. Well, it will continue to be free unless you go and sign somebody else. But look, the reality is that I think from that it sounds like we're going to push again for Wissa. Hopefully, we get it done and in time. But we've got Jacob Ramsey making his debut. I've seen a couple of clips on training. He looks really strong. So he could come on and make an impact as well from that midfield. Don't be surprised if we play a different formation.
4-4-2.
No, we normally.
That's what you were planning, wasn't it? Isn't that what you were planning?
We normally play the 4-3-3, but don't be surprised if we play a 3-5-2.
Yeah,
we bring in Sven Botman in and play a back 3. We did it against Arsenal and Chelsea, and they really struggled to handle that. And yeah, don't be surprised if we change formation for that game on Monday.
I'm excited for it. I am so ready for it, mate. Honestly, first watch along, I can't wait. What a perfect start to watch alongs as well. So, thank you for joining me tonight, Ben, Pete, and I'll speak to you. I'm sure I'll speak to you very, very soon, and I'll speak to you in the chat as well. So, yeah, thank you for joining me, and like I said, good luck with the transfer window, not the game, maybe the season.
Yeah, good luck for the rest of the season. Hopefully, minus Alexander Isak, but who knows? We could be back talking in a week.
Well, you'll see. Next time you see him is Anfield when you play reverse fixture.
Playing for Newcastle, yeah?
No, red shirt.
We'll see. Take care, guys. Make sure you're all subscribing to Damon's channel. Thank you for having me. First time on. Hopefully it's not the last, and we'll talk again soon.
Definitely, mate. Thank you, mate. I'll speak to you soon. So, guys, we will continue. I've missed a lot of the chat, by the way. I will get into the chat. So, Jonathan's in, obviously, our Newcastle fan that usually comes in. How are you doing, Jonathan? Are you excited for Monday? I certainly am. If Newcastle signed Ekitike, they wouldn't have sold Isak. I think they would have done. I think Pete was quite spot on that. I think they got Ekitike. But at the end of the day, Liverpool wanted Ekitike and Isak, just the way Newcastle wanted both as well. So, basically, what they're doing is mixed messages, said Boona. It's very, very messy what's going on with Newcastle and Isak. It's very, very messy, and it's not a good situation at all. It's not a good situation. I think like I said, I've said it all the time. The best thing to happen right now would be for Isak to join Liverpool. Just for everyone, it needs to come to an end. It needs to come to a conclusion because it's got out of hand to the point where it doesn't need to go out of hand. It doesn't need to go to the point it has done. Newcastle have rejected the first Vissa offer. Yeah, well, we'll be speaking about Vissa and how he wants Newcastle, but there is talks about Tottenham coming in, and Tottenham and Newcastle might want Tottenham to get Isak because they might. Vissa because of the fact that they get Richarlison on the way back. But I don't think what it seems, what Peter said there as well, is that Vissa is not wanting Tottenham. It seems like he's wanting Newcastle because of the links that I said before. So, just going to address this one. Where's the huge news? Clickbaiting. Derek, the huge news is what happened last night with Isak, Newcastle, and also the fact that Vissa, their bid is being rejected. So, it impacts Liverpool massively. There's always going to be huge news. It's not clickbaiting. It's a thumbnail that you've got to create to make sure people want to come and watch. At the end of the day, I'm going to tell you what the huge news is. If you join us, me and Dave, me and Pete was talking about the situation between Isak, Liverpool, Isak, Newcastle, and Vissa as well. But the big news is the fact that Newcastle have had the bid rejected by Vissa. Brentford's trying to push that to Tottenham, and also the news last night as well. The big news last night with Isak coming out with that massive statement, and then Newcastle basically telling him that was lying. Pete didn't think that they were lying, but I think there's more to it. I do think there's more to it. I think the Pro Club promises are the contract. I think Pete's right on terms of that. But I think something's happened since as well. I think he does want that move for Liverpool, but have they promised him a move? I don't know. I don't know about that. But I think Newcastle have got them all themselves to blame right now. They've only got themselves to blame. If they didn't mess it all the situation in the first place, the ownership, then bringing Paul Mitchell in, then that didn't really last long. Now they've got no really backroom staff in terms of sporting director or anything like that, sorting the transfers out. If this wasn't there, if these problems weren't there, I don't think this would be a big issue. I really don't. I don't think Isak really falls out with that with Newcastle. And once you've, like I said, once you've said it before, once you've fallen out with your boss or something like that, you don't want to really stay at your workplace. It's very odd you stay at your workplace when you've done that. You've had broken promises. Isak will not be at Liverpool until the game after Monday, said Jonathan. Guys in the chat, let me know. Do you still think Isak will be a Liverpool player? Do you still think he's going to be a Liverpool player? Wait until after the Newcastle game, said it Fireburn. It's gonna. I can't wait for the Newcastle game, by the way, guys. Cannot wait for the Newcastle game. Just gonna get through more of the chat as well. I'm trying to catch up on all you all because you've been absolutely wild in the chat tonight. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Make sure you do hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new as well. Agreed, Newcastle are playing for top 10, Mark said there. Top 10? Do you think they only play for top 10? I think they're better than that, mate. I think they're better than that. When we beat Newcastle 4-0, imagine. Dan Burn will get sent off, said Adam. It's going to be a feisty one. It's going to be an absolutely feisty one. Stan Cullimore 4-3. Sorry, but Newcastle made the deal with the devil and is now funded by unlimited oil money. You're no local class club. No, they are a working class club. They are working, and I like how Newcastle ran. Whether they've got oil money or not, they can't use their oil money. You've seen that right now. They can't use their oil money. I think they work within the means that they earn. They do work under PSI rules. They don't break the rules. Newcastle have got the richest owners in the Premier League. They could find loopholes the way Chelsea do and the way Man City do, but they choose not to. They do abide by the rules, which is fantastic, and that's why PSI is there. And fair play to Newcastle by doing that. Oh my, you're alive and alive, Damon. Hit the likes, subscribe, people. 72 online, only 14 likes is crazy. Smash those buttons, says DB. I am, yeah, I was away last week and I'm going to be away again in 2 weeks. But yeah, I was away, so I am back. And I couldn't get any signal. Wherever I was, right, I could not get any signal at all. It was terrible. I could barely do just little videos for TikTok. That was about it. Luckily, we had a couple of people covering me last week. Newcastle have more strength compared to Liverpool, but our maestros will dance bottom burn. Don't worry. I do think it's going to be a very feisty game on Monday. I expect a lot of yellow cards. Come on, Liverpool, we've got to beat them, said Red Goals. And by the way, guys, whilst you are here, and we're talking about Newcastle, Liverpool, as I said to Pete and as I said throughout this stream, we are live on Monday night for a watch-along. Our first watch-along on Talking Red, so do not miss it. Subscribe to the channel and get watching on Monday for that game because it's going to be an absolute feisty one, and I am raring to go for that one. So just going to catch up on the latest news, obviously, of today with the Wissa deal. Newcastle did make another bid for Wissa, which was rejected by Brentford, according to David Ornstein. That has a massive impact on us because if Wissa goes to Newcastle, we've got a better chance of getting Isak. But if Tottenham are offering Richarlison, which I don't know why they want to get rid of Richarlison because he had a very, very good game on the weekend. He's got 2 goals, didn't he? I don't like the guy, but I'll admit when he's playing well. And for me, I don't get why they want to get rid of him now. It makes 0 sense. But as Pete said there, Wissa clearly wants the Newcastle move. So I still think that Wissa to Newcastle is still pretty much on if Wissa gets his way. So we're going to go on to more Liverpool news as well. They talked about Mark Gahey earlier. David Ornstein spoke about Mark Gahey, and this is what he had to say about the situation. At this moment, from what I hear, if both clubs, Liverpool and Newcastle, agreed a deal, I think we would veer towards making a move. But the conditions have to be right. There's actually sort of no concrete movement in the last couple of weeks since there were conversations between Palace and Liverpool, but expect more to take place before the end of the window. It's just whether they lead to the transfer or not. So we are going to negotiate again. According to David Armstrong, we are going to be negotiating again with Palace for Mark Gahey. And that's exactly what Dave Elcott said yesterday as well. By the end of this week, I think he said, is where we're going to see negotiations again between Liverpool and Palace for Mark Gahey. And if we do meet a reasonable offer for Gahey, which I think would be about £40 million, I'm just going to say £40 million right now. I think that could be the fee that gets agreed. If that is what we offer instead of £35 million, I think Mark Gahey joins Liverpool. And I've always been quite adamant on that. I think that's what gets the deal done. £40 million for Mark Gahey. I think both clubs will accept that. And I think Mark Gahey is pretty much open to join Liverpool anyway. So I think that he will be joining Liverpool and we'll get him before this window shuts. Like I said, there's a week and a half left, guys. A week and a half left of the transfer window. There's not much time left at all. And Newcastle are doing the business in the last minute. We're doing business in the last minute. And it's going to get to the point where it's going to get very interesting indeed next week, especially after the Newcastle game. Very interesting indeed. There's also something else about Harvey Elliott. Also, Leipzig are looking at Harvey Elliott, contra Florian Plettenberg. Their top target to replace Xavi Simons, who obviously has joined Chelsea, who is set to move to Chelsea after Bundesliga open against Bayern. So he's going to be joining Chelsea very, very soon. Leipzig have agreed personal terms with Elliott. LFC keen to let him go with a suitable offer. So it's pretty much like Liverpool's transfers right now. There's always going to be a personal agreement between us and Gahey, us and Isak, for example. It's about getting that offer and make sure it's the right offer for the selling club to accept. And Leipzig wanting Elliott, also to replace Xavi Simons, I think, what's that? Daniel said Eze rejected Tottenham. It doesn't really surprise me. I'm not. We can all laugh at Arsenal and say no, Arteta is, but they are a better project than Tottenham, and they are a better place to go right now than Tottenham. So it doesn't surprise me as he's rejected them if he has. I'm going to get that up in a minute, but yeah, it does surprise me. But Harvey Elliott to Leipzig, I think it'd be a good move for him. Very, very good move for him. Good replacement for Xavi Simons. I think the money wise, how much he could be, 45 million. I want to say 45 million. Let me know in chat if you think anything else. 45 million for me. Don't understand why after the match we will get him. We won't be able to play if he's signed. I think it's because, mate. The negotiations between the both clubs. I don't think they'll be focused on getting those negotiations happening this week. I think it'd be more like, let's get our game out of the way first and then let's talk, sort of thing. Obviously, we can't play him. He'd have to come literally tomorrow if we were to play him on Monday, and that's not going to happen. I'd love to get Gahey within the next few days so he can play on Monday, said Adam. I hope so. No, I wish I know, but I don't think it'd have to be, like I said, it'd have to be done tomorrow, at latest Friday. And you're really pushing it there. Why hasn't Isak handed in a transfer request? You know why? It's because he will lose his sign-on fee. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot more with it when you hand a transfer request and you lose out on money as well. So he's gone about it in a different way, hasn't he? What's this here? Arnie Bomber. Has David Ornstein said something here? Guys, let me know. The only thing he said here, Arsenal make a move for Eze. 27-year-old wants them. That's the only thing I've seen from David Ornstein. Is there anything else I'm missing? Please let me know. Has he said anything about Liverpool? I've not seen anything about David Ornstein apart from that. Just the Eze situation. If not Isak, who do we bring in at this late stage? Good question, Gina. Good question. Very good question indeed. Who do we bring in? Again, like Pete just went through the options that he has as Newcastle. What options do we have? Our next best one is probably Alvarez. That's about it. Our next best one is probably Alvarez. I'd be happy with Alvarez, if I'm honest. Obviously, I still want Isak, if we can get Isak next year. Alvarez can play across the front line. Alvarez and Ekitike are good options to go up front for me. Very good options. And like I said, if Isak is not sustainable, we need to bring another forward in. We need to. It's as simple as that. At the end of the day, we've brought one forward in. And we've got Rio Engamo, who's fantastic. And I can't wait to see him get 13 minutes, but he's a 16-year-old lad who we can't fully throw into the deep end so quick and rely on him so heavily. We need another forward on that front line. If Chiesa stays brilliant, that's your Salah backup, and he can play elsewhere as well. But we definitely need another forward. If Isak doesn't come in, we need to move quick. And we need to know now, really, if we can get Isak or not, because we need to move quick. What do you rate at the window so far? Said Emmy or me or whatever. Me. When I say me, though, that's me. So that'll make it. I'll just call you Emmy. What do you rate the window so far? So, yeah, the start of the window was like a 10 out of 10 one. It was incredible. Verts, Frimpong, Kirkers. Ekatike then came in. Mamadash Phil also coming in as well. And then it's been underwhelming since. Obviously, we haven't got anyone in, and we still need another forward. We still need another centre back. Oh, we've got Leone as well, didn't we, last week before the game? So that's a brilliant sign as well. I'm going to rate it right now an 8. I'm going to rate the transfer window an 8 right now. It can be a 10. And I'm saying that without getting a DM as well. If we get a forward, an Isak or a Nagay, if we get an Isak and a Nagay, that's a 10 out of 10 window. Despite not even getting a DM, because I still want a DM, by the way. But I still think it's a 10 out of 10 window. I think right now an 8. And if we don't get a centre back in and a striker in, I could go down to 7. Because we need one. Big time. Very, very much so. If folks think I don't know what that means. Average agree. Okay. I personally rate mine United 7 out of 10. Need a new goalkeeper like yesterday. Oh, you're a Man United fan. Welcome in. We accept any kind of fans in here. If you want to banter us, don't bother us. We like to laugh at Man United now and then. It made me laugh on Sunday anyway. But yeah, I don't know how you haven't got a new goalkeeper. In fact, you've not even the fact that you got a new goalkeeper, you've actually dropped into the third choice, haven't you? I'm sure Aaron dropped into third choice. And fair play to him. If folks think the AZ deal's over, they might just be surprised because this isn't over. Matt Gay and Isak will be LFC. Keep the faith, said forever LFC. I love that positivity, mate. I love that positivity. If I was a Liverpool fan, I wouldn't want Isak because of Ekatike, but I would go for Simon with a 21-year-old forward. Simon's just got injured as well for Porto. He just got injured on Monday. That's why Newcastle sort of backed out a little bit on that. We definitely need another striker, mate. And Isak, Ekatike is the young lad coming up. There's no point getting another 21-year-old. We've got Ekatike there as the young one. We need a striker like Isak, and then Ekatike can be the future. Or it can swap around with Isak. He can play on left if he wants to play on left as well. Ekatike is the future, but Isak's young as well. So next summer, Wharton. I would love Adam Wharton, Daniel. My three favorite DMs right now, if we were to go get a DM, it would be not in order: Wharton, Belabor, and Stiller. My original one I wanted was Stiller because obviously is cheaper and I think is more attainable than Wharton and the Belabor. I don't think Belabor certainly suits Slot as much as what I think he should do. I would love Belabor. I don't know if Slot wants that kind of DM. I think it'd work because we've got a proper 10 now. But I think Adam Wharton would be a sensational signing. It would. Emmy said, I would banter you, but I can't right now. It's best team in Europe for me. We're not actually the best team in Europe, though. PSG are. I'll give him that. If we get Isak and Gay 10, said Adam. Absolutely, I agree with that. But I'm mistaken. But I'm sure Ekatike plays left wing apart from that last season where he was his striker. Ekatike is a striker, mate. He's a striker. He can play left wing. He's got attributes to play left wing. When he does start up front, he actually does cut sort of left more often than he does right. But he's not a left winger. It's quite similar to Nunes. When we bought Nunes as a striker, but he sort of cut onto the left. He could play left wing as well. But he's not like Nunes because he actually got composure. Mine's are Wharton and Belabor. Yep, two incredible signings they would be. There was also news on Kostas Tsimikas as well. The Kostas Tsimikas's future thing has not been really spoken about in the last few weeks. But in recent weeks, in the last few months, but in recent weeks, Tsimikas's future has been talked about a little bit more. There has been more reports about him leaving. Marseille are now interested in Kostas Tsimikas. With Kirkers here, with Robertson here, I don't see the point in keeping Tsimikas. He's a brilliant character in and around the dressing room. We've seen that how great he is with like Salah, and I think he's fantastic. I think he's done well. I think he's been an okay signing. He's not been a massive success, but he's been an okay signing. He's not been a bad signing at all. I think he's done very, very well. At one point in his career, I thought at one point he could take over Robertson because Robertson dropped off massively. But I think Tsimikas's career for me now at Liverpool's over, if I'm honest. There's no point having 3 left backs for me. No point. Kirker's number 1, Robertson number 2, and that's about it. I think that covers that. Simicast, I think he'll do well at Marseille, for example. I really do. I think Wharton is waiting for us, says Daniel. You stay away from Wharton. He's coming to us. I thought you were looking at Belabor, Man United. I'm glad you're not, though, because it would be unbelievable. Wharton to Liverpool, said Prakash as well. John Zassia, high thoughts on Keita chant controversy about the Juve line in a bit is a bit over the top of the If I'm honest, John, I said it yesterday. Did I say it yesterday or was it Monday I spoke about it? I think it might have been yesterday. I think someone has tried to take that out of any context at all and try to make something out of something that's not there. There's nothing wrong with the Chiesa chant. And if you're linking it to something as tragic as the Heysel disaster, then you are trying to find negatives in something like that. It's as simple as that. Someone has created something here that didn't need to be created. The Chiesa chant is a very, very good chant for Chiesa. It's a very happy chant for Chiesa. It's nothing to do with specifically with Juventus. It's just that's the last club he played for. And that's why it says Juventus. There's nothing to do with Heysel. And I think it's very, very dangerous to even suggest it has. Very dangerous. So, yeah, I'm not even listening to that sort of childish sort of comparison or anything like that because I think it's pathetic to even go down that line for me. I know it's getting old now, but can we appreciate how good Robertson was? Like 4 million from Hull. I thought he'd never become that best left back. I think 4 million from Hull is like one of the best transfers of all time in it, Andy Robertson. But like I said, he relied a lot on his legs, did Andy Robertson. And when your legs go at a certain age, unfortunately, you can't keep up with the rest of the team. And that's what it is. That's what's happened with Robertson. And he was the best left back in the league in the world at one point. For me, I'll be honest, I know you're a United fan, you like your every situation, but I still think that Andy Robertson's the second best left back in Premier League history behind Ashley Cole. I think Ashley Cole's way ahead of everyone else because he's fantastic. But I think Andy Robertson's second best, and then maybe Evra. But my United fans will probably disagree, but I think he is. I want Wharton. Where is it to negotiate with Palace? It's not right now, Daniel. It's not right. We're not negotiating right now with Palace with Gahey over 5-10 million, isn't it? We can't even haggle with them. So I don't think it's going to be that easy at all. Right now, the only team that Liverpool have been better haggling with is probably Bundesliga sides. You know, we got Wirtz over the line despite wanting a massive fee for him, and we got him at a cheaper fee. XTK, we got that down when they want 100 million euros. So, you know, I think regarding players that we get in, I think we'll get negotiations down. I think regarding Gahey and Isak specifically, if we get Isak, I know Pete said they're going to stand on 150 million, and that's it now. It's an ego thing. But I still think we can get Isak for 130, if I'm honest. I do think we still can get Isak for 130. And I still think we can get Gahey for 40 million, if I'm honest. So, Emmy says here, for me, Cole, Irwin, Robert, Wissa. I don't think... I sort of agree with Irwin slightly. Irwin's definitely top 5. I wouldn't put Wissa top 5. And I'm a Liverpool fan. I wouldn't put Wissa top 5. Not above Evra. And I mean, that's saying a lot. I'm a Liverpool fan here saying, and I absolutely love Wissa. I'd rather Palace than Brighton. Brighton somehow will make you 45 million more. Brighton, I've said this many, many times. Brighton will, if we ever negotiate again with Brighton, ever in the next 10 years, they're putting £100 million on, added on, because we owe them for McAllister. We still owe them for McAllister. We got them done with McAllister because it was the release clause. McAllister was worth at least another 40-50 million pounds on top of that. So anytime we negotiate with Brighton now, they want that McAllister money on top. So count Belabor out. But yeah, Adam Wharton would be a sensational signing. Absolutely sensational player. And I feel it must be awful being like a Palace fan, for example. You get to a certain point, you win the FA Cup for the first time in your history. You win a cup for the first time in history, and then you lose Eze. You lose, possibly Mark Gahey. And then Wharton could be going next summer, which I think that's what was apparently being agreed between Palace and Wharton. That is, could be going next summer. It must be awful. Must be awful. They will remember Maka pay up. They will remember Maka. They will want more money on Maka. I absolutely love Risa. He was a different breed of left back. He was the attacking left back before attacking left backs even became. You know how attacking left backs are now, not really defending left backs. Risa was that before. I love Wissa too, but he's not in the top 5 Premier League left backs of all time. It can't be. It'd be funny to go through them. Obviously, Cole Robertson, Everett Irwin, that would be a 4. Thinking about it, I have to really dig deep now. Who else would go in as a left back? We've not had a good one since, really. Arsenal, not really. Man United, Everett Irwin, Chelsea, Ashley Cole. Who have they had since? Who Man City had left back? They've had no one really. They've had dodgy left backs, haven't they, Man City? They had like Kolarov for a little bit, they had Gail Clichy for a little bit. Yeah, maybe Risa could get top 5, but I don't think he is. There must be someone out there that is a left back. I think Ian Hart will probably better. I think Ian Hart was very good left back at Leeds. As Liverpool, he was very good in his win. I can't stand Man United I can't stand Man United more than anything. But I'll admit when a good player is a good player. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching tonight, and I hope you appreciated Pete coming on, and thank Pete as well. If you want to go over and watch Pete Davey quite often, he's on Load of Mag and NFC, a bigger fan channel than I am. That is the goal for here. That is the goal for Talking Reds. So if you want to be part of Talking Reds, make sure you do subscribe to the channel if you are new. We want to provide you the best Liverpool content we physically can. And like I said, I always say it all the time, the bigger we get as a channel, so subscribe to the channel, the bigger we get, the more subscribers, the bigger the views, the better we get. The better the content gets. I've got some big ideas for this channel, big ideas. So thank you everyone for watching. Like I said, make sure you do hit that like button on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I'll speak to you all tomorrow. Have a good night, and I'll speak to you all tomorrow.